Good morning, students. Let us continue the defining the research problem. In that here research problem, the first and foremost step in a research process is selecting and properly defining a research problem. A researcher must find the problem and formulate it so that it becomes the researchable. However, the selecting of any research problem is not a easy task. Selecting a problem itself a problematic. So here as a management students, you should learn the environment of business and selecting an appropriate, relevant, strategic and useful topic in the area of finance, human resource management, marketing, leadership, knowledge management, hospitality, travel and tourism, healthcare, telecommunication, banking and insurance. So we should select the problem in these areas. Next, let us move on to the meaning of research problem. Here, research problem as a individual course of action, possibly outcome the researcher has to choose the best course. Then he is said to have a chosen problem. Here, an individual or a group of person can be said to have a problem which can be technically described as a research problem if they have any one or more desired output or two or more course of action that have some not equal to the efficiency for a desired objective or in doubt about which the course of action will be best. So here selecting the research problem and then they have a source of selection of research problem. In that the researcher may select the research problem from the following sources. So what are all the sources will be get by the researcher. In that first one is reading. Here reading means reading reference of the books, journals and other such readings. Next one is experience. By personal experience in his daily life, he may find several problems as he observe in the daily life. When he has to solve such problems, he may undertake such research on them. So on. Next one is consultation. Here having a discussion with professors, guides, experts, researchers, administrators and research executors, the problem can be selected. Next one is technological changes. Here technological changes in a fast changing society are constantly bring the for more new problems. So changing technology brings more problems in the society. So it has a new opportunity of research or we will get different types of research problem. Next one is unexplored area. Any problem may also be selected from those areas which have not been explored. For example, boiling river. So it is an unexplored area. So he has been find out. Next one is intuitions. Reflective mind is a spring of knowledge. At the time, new ideas may be string to one mind like a flash of light. So, while doing different activities or by doing different things means we'll get new ideas, new thoughts like a flash of light. So at that time we have to record that problems and then we have to find that solutions. So it is a one source of research problem. Next one is one's own interest. Here sometimes researcher may select a problem for investigation from a given area in which he has a considerable interest. So his own interest brings a thought to do the research. Next one is research gap. Here another way of choosing the research problem for research is identify the gap existing in the field of research. Next one is research. Research only brings a source for the research problem. Here research is a one of the problem may suggest problems for further research. Here further research means we can say it as research is a continuous process. We are searching again and again because problems are not being solved at a time. So one problem we have find out the solution and another day the new problem will be arise. So that new problem we have to find the solution. Next one is education and training. Here his own education background by attending the seminars, workshop, conferences, synopses and discussion, group discussions. So his own subject of the study may help to selecting the problem. I already given management studies. So there is a different types of problems arise in management. Next one is selecting the source, selecting the problem or selecting the problem. The point to be considered while selecting the research problem, While selecting a research problem, controversial, overdone, or too narrow working topics should be avoided. Here, first one is subjective. First one is subjective overdone. Here, subjective which is overdone should not normally be chosen because it will bring a task to throw away the new light. In such case, we are doing only a one only a research means it will be problematic because we are not go through the another new research. Next one is controversial subject. Here, controversial subject should not be selected by the average researcher. In our country, controversial subject like Ayurvedic issue. Next one is water distributes. Next one is livid matters. So on the such matters we should be avoided by the average researcher because it has for these topics he have to be a lot of knowledge. Next one is narrow and work subject. Here, too narrow or too work problems should be avoided because will leads to nowhere but messy waste of time, money or energy because it will be not accepted by the anyone. Next one is researcher interest. Here, researcher interest is the problem is influenced by the is or her education backgrounds or specialization or sensitivity and outlook. These play a crucial role in selecting a research problem. Next one is fifth one is researcher competency. Here, merely interest in the problem is not sufficient to make a selection of a problem because unless the researcher is competent enough to undertake the task successfully, whatever the good or selecting the problem is made, it is not to use. Here is her competency, her knowledge, the subject ability to increase the more ideas or a more researching books or a more researching presentations. Next one is availability of researcher. Here, the amount of time and finance the researcher can spend on his research work is also a point to be taken carefully. The factor particularly significant when his or her research task is not sponsored by any organization. Maybe it may be spent of lot of time and finance or money. Next one is researchability of problem. Here, the problem selected should be researchable. That is, information should be available. It should be feasible. However, while doing the research, a second-hand information is also very important, and our first primary data is also a very important. Through the second-hand data, we can find out the another information. So, here researchability of the problem is also a respond, react, or a respond or a provide information will be count much. Next one is facilities. Unless there is a good library facilities with latest books, latest or present books, present data, journals, magazines, periodicals, computers with internet facilities, the quality of research work cannot be good, reliable. Good and can be good and reliable. Next one is usefulness and social relevance. Here, the problem select should be useful in practical life and should have a social relevant. Otherwise, the research should be the research becomes the meaningless. Next one is importance and urgency. Here, there may be several research problems available, but of the most important and urgent one will be to be selected. For example, in our society now COVID virus will be spreading, but there is a urgency of vaccine for the COVID virus, so we have to be find out a solution to solve the problems in a quick manner. Next one is availability of research personnel. Here, before selecting the research problems, the availability of investigators, research personnel, data gatherers are taken care of because here the smooth completion of research program, because availability of personnel is very important. We cannot do the research because we need some peoples to help to do the research, or we are getting work done from them. Next one is novelty and originality. Here, a researcher must not go through the a well-trodden path. The researcher must have a novelty. You only should have a new path or a new route map to do the research. So there is no use of wasting one time or energy on a problem already studied through by the others. Here we do the research on a new problems, but we cannot do research on the old problem basis because they given already data, but we can do the cross check of researchers. Next one is techniques involved in defining the problem. Here, techniques of selecting the problem if the step involved in defining the research problem into a workable proposition. Defining a problem involves the task of laying down the boundaries of framework within which the researcher should study the problem with a predetermined objectives. You have to plan and do the research. So I already explained the steps in research. No, so we have to take into consideration that steps. So we have to prepare first only what are all the things to do the research. Next one is, in that first one is statement of problem in a general way. Here the research problem initially should be stated in a broad general way. Keep it in the mind that practical and intellectual interest. Here, for example, a general topics are economics, commerce, management, so on. The researcher must choose a particular area. So you have to choose the population size and the areas we should be considered. Next one is preliminary study observation will be enable him to form a research problem in a general terms. Next one is deciphering the nature of the problem. Here understanding the nature of the research problem is very important to narrow down the topic. Here it calls for aggressive and active discussions. Here interaction with superiors, colleagues, friends, professional, academics will be easy to problem of narrating down the problem. So while through discussion we can get it more information from our superiors, colleagues, friends, and so on. Next one is reviewing the literature. Here reviewing the available literature will help the researcher to identify the research gap. Here we have to already been research being done and remaining to be do. So the books, articles, survey reports, journals, encyclopedia, e-books, e-journals, microfilms, CD-ROM, internet are the vast source of reviewing the topic of overcoming the research problem. So we are I already said while doing the research, secondary data is also very important. It helps in doing the research. So through these mode we can collect the various types of information. Next one is developing ideas. Here discussion leads to emergency of host of ideas are try it. Discussion is one of the source of create information on the problem, because for example brainstorming. Okay, while brainstorming a different people have a different thinking ability, so it provide a group discussion will provide a new ideas, new thoughts, and new more solutions to the problems. Next one is converting the research problem into a working hypothesis. Here converting a broad topic into a specific topic is the goal of defining a problem. Eventually, the researcher must narrow down the general area into a specific topic. The researcher must sit it represents the research problem in a work proposition. So that this is possible if the sincerely undergoes the preceding 4 steps. So other techniques here, technical terms and words with a specific meaning useful in the statement of the problem should be defined. So while doing the research we are providing the certificates like certificate of statement. So in that statement we are including some information about this information belongs to me only, so that should be included. Next one is basic assumptions relating to the research problem will be clearly stated, so that it will be understand through the presentation. Next one is a straightforward statements of value of investigation should be provided in the criteria of selecting the problem. Next one is suitability of a time period and source of data available must be considered by the researcher. So too long doing the research will be also affect the researcher. For example, doing research for 10 years, okay, it is not a small task. 10 years of research sometimes it may be not useful, or it takes more time, more money. It is also affect to the situation, present problem situations. Next one is scope of investigation or a limitation within which the problem should be studied. So we cannot cross the boundaries. So based on the doing the research, we should be accepted by the society. Harmful research is also be affected by the people and the researcher. So these are all the techniques of selecting the problem, or these are all the points should be included in techniques of involving the defining in a problem. So this is the explanation for defining the research problem.